Welcome to Living Legacy Leadership, where we explore, discover, and share insights, tools, and strategies for a life well lived into elderhood. I'm your host, Donna Kim Brand, author, speaker, legacy strategy coach, and creator of the concept Living Legacy, where you choose to live life on your own terms while contributing to people, places, and projects along your life journey. I believe that the life you live is the legacy you leave. Now, the guests I bring to you each week all address some unique aspect of learning, leadership, or legacy. This helps you to raise your own game as a leader in business and life, and also showcases some extraordinary people who exemplify living legacy leadership. At least once a month, I also offer a training session to skill you in game changer thinking for your own application. So get your notebook ready or sharpen up your memory by tuning in your attention, and we'll dive right in. Now, I'm particularly tickled to have Miss Catherine, otherwise known as Cappy Kirsch, on the call today. We have, in fact, known each other since maybe 10 years old, fifth grade when we met. She's a most extraordinary person, and I'm so thrilled and honored to have her in my life. So Cappy is a healer who's been in healing practice, she says, for 16 years, but I know it's frankly been pretty much her whole life, but in different ways of expressing that. So she's been consistently told that her presence is nurturing, warm, and respectful. When she handles or engages in online healing with you or in person, you can expect to be met with deep contact and to feel a sense of calm and peacefulness, the state in which healing can best occur. So welcome, Cappy Kirsch.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Donna. I'm delighted to be here.
Thank you. Now, I know we've actually caught you in a tricky situation in the sense that you've just been undergoing a battery of tests. Are you game to share with us what's going on?
Well, yes, I was having some cognitive testing this afternoon because I have volunteered to participate in an Alzheimer's research study. It's for first-degree relatives of people who have had Alzheimer's, and that includes my mom. And so it's a 2-year study, and every 6 months I go in and get some cognitive testing myself.
And I'm sure you aced it because you're one smart and talented woman.
Well, that is in the news this week. So I don't know if it's possible to ace these tests, but I gave it my best shot.
Excellent. Good. You know, fresh out of college, Cappy, you became one of the very few women who was a master fine art printer from the Tamarind Institute in Albuquerque, New Mexico, if I got that language right. So
that's right.
What is it that led you that direction in the first place?
Well, I was in high school in the 1970s. I graduated in 1974, and I'm guessing that most of your listeners can relate to what was going on in the 70s, and women's liberation was just what was going on. It was just the zeitgeist of the moment. And so because of that, it felt really important to me to be able to find a career that was actually going to pay me a living wage, that I would have some income of my own, because I'd not seen a lot of that in my family. Going back generations, all my female relatives had been artists or musicians. And so there was that stream running in my background, was the art and music. But also I wanted to introduce, how can I make a living doing this? And it was about that time that I learned about collaborative printmaking. And this would entail working with an artist to help them bring their image to fruition with limited edition original prints. So it was kind of a high-tech skill to bring to the table, and it was a way to make a living.
And I know I thought it was very clever. You ended up moving to Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and then you called your business Winstone Press, taking in the stone from Winston and then the stone of the lithographic process, which really requires, like you said, it's a high-tech process with a lot of, on one hand, physical strength involved, on the other hand, a lot of precision, and yet you're working with art and artists. So you really had to combine a lot of your intelligences, I think, to first of all become masterful as you were, and then deal with the fragile egos of the artists, and then handle the artwork.
Yes, and even though it was a very technical process, the printmaking, it was also archaic. It really was an 18th century printing process where the artists would come and they would draw on these enormous, smoothly ground slabs of limestone. So some of it is still being done today, but not as much as even was 40 or 50 years ago. So yeah, it was an interesting combination of skills.
Mm. And, I know you moved into a desire for motherhood, and that led you down another very unique and deeply experienced path. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, there have been a lot of twists and turns in my path. So while printmaking and creating Winstone Press, doing that on my own, was the first career, when I decided I wanted to have a child, and then life would be great. I'd have my printmaking business and be a mom, but that didn't come so easily. So infertility became the next part of my path. And after many years of treatment, we finally realized that wasn't what was going to bring us a family. So my husband and I entered into the process of adoption, which led us to private adoption, which led us to the great fortune to adopt our two boys, who are not biologically related, but we had relationships with two different birth mothers, got to know them, and had private adoptions. So, again, talk about your collaboration and your personal relationships. It's almost as though working so closely with the artists prepared me for getting to know and working closely and generously with the birth mothers as well.
But I recall in those days too, though, you actually took on the mantle of a was it a statewide or national organization about infertility and adoption?
Yes, we had a local chapter. We called it Resolve of the Piedmont. My guess is that Resolve is still a national organization with local chapters all over the place. And I took on the presidency of that little organization. And I also manned the hotline so that if someone finally realized, wait a minute, this isn't going the way it's supposed to go, I want to reach out for some help, they would dial the number, and I would be the first person that they would talk to.
So is this kind of what led you then towards the route of therapeutic healing, touch, and massage?
Well, not directly. It was, although it did indirectly, actually. I became friends with another woman in the Resolve group who had infertility, my friend Mary Beth. And at one point, she realized that I just needed to de-stress. So she gave me a gift certificate for massage. And I think unbeknownst to her, the massage therapist that I went to see on that gift certificate was a practitioner of healing touch and an instructor in the healing touch program. And she asked me when I came in for the massage, she said, would you mind if I did some healing touch with you? And at that point, of course, I had no idea what it was. But I said, sure, whatever you think would work and would help me experience some relaxation. And so when she did healing touch, which is an energy medicine, I couldn't explain it, but I saw a variety of rainbow colors. I felt an altered state of profound relaxation. And when I got back in my car after the session to drive home, I popped a stick of gum in my mouth and it melted on my tongue. So
Wow.
I couldn't explain it, and it really piqued my curiosity. And as I said, this practitioner, this massage therapist and healing touch practitioner, kept sending me pamphlets inviting me to enroll in Healing Touch Level 1, just to take the class. Well, at that time, I was super skeptical, and I didn't know how to explain anything like that. But I was overcome with just enough curiosity that I took my first weekend class. And, I'm the kind of person who has to experience something. And so a lot of my skepticism melted away on that first weekend class. And it became a path that I followed for the next several years.
I remember too in the early days when, because apparently in the United States you're not allowed, in a profession to touch people unless you're a medical doctor or a minister, and you became an online minister in order to be able to practice massage before you were certified. Do I have that story right?
Well, I'd actually forgotten that part of the story, but that's right.
Reverend Cappy,
I became
yes.
an online minister. I think it cost like $10 or something, but that was in order to practice healing touch. So, so I did. When I became a certified healing touch practitioner, I thought, well, I'm going to set up my own practice, because by that time I loved doing it, and yet I was in rural North Carolina. I was not even in Winston-Salem at that point. I was out in the county, Davie County, and there was, I would say, a fair amount of skepticism about what is this thing this lady's doing. And it probably just mirrored my own skepticism as I look back at it now. But at the time, it just seemed like a hurdle that was difficult to overcome. So, the path will often put the teacher you need right in your place. And I remember one day running into a massage therapist. I'd never really thought much more about massage since that first gift certificate. But on this particular day, I realized, if I became a massage therapist, I could just kind of add in some healing touch, and yeah, that could work. So ended up going to massage therapy school. Again, it was completely serendipitous the way it happened. I got in under the wire a few days before the semester began, but it was exactly where I needed to be.
Well, and not only did you build a reputation here of being an excellent massage therapist and healing touch practitioner, but you were invited to teach anatomy and other courses at the local community college, right? So that added to your strings to your bow.
Yes, and when you graduate from massage school, that's kind of like the basic. Everybody's got the basics of how to practice massage, but as we take continuing education from that point on, everybody's practice becomes individual. You can kind of specialize in whatever you like to specialize in, and my particular interest was anatomy and problem solving. And I learned what every muscle did and how they worked together, so that if someone came in with a specific physical problem, I loved to troubleshoot what that problem was, and to figure it out, and to work on very specific muscles and send them on their way feeling better.
So from my own experience, having had a massage and therapy with you, but also hearing stories over the years, it seems like your intuition developed so strongly so that when people would come in with these issues, your hands kind of like knew where to go to heal them. So what was that like with your intuition growing, and then that led you on to the wilderness fusion programs and other types of healing modalities? Share a little bit about that so we